2. We are live.
Ba-doop, boop, ba-doop, boop, 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 boop. Welcome to the Kicked Peanut today, also known as Kicking the Peanut, or just don't call us late for dinner. I am the lovely Who is Alice, and I'm brought to you with my fellow partners in crime here. Say your names, boys.
I am Xander.
I am Rusty.
Hello, Rusty. Anyways, well, this is a show where we talk about everything, anything, and what comes to our mind. But today we actually do have, we want to continue on from last week's show about certain things. However, before we start on those, we're going to go by our roll call of how our week has been. Xander, how has your week been?
The week has been interesting. I've been doing a lot of linking the things to other things, like a lot of background work. A lot of our social networking, video sharing sites, a lot of those places now have, if available, links to our Linktree, links to various other places, like to our Facebook, to our Minds, to like our YouTube, like so on and so have it. Please check out our Linktree. We're in a lot of places, but yesterday, the Golden Moon and I, as you call them, old Papa Dukes, we went to the beach and got a couple waves boogie boarding and such. I am massively out of shape. So starting tomorrow, I have to get on the regimen of getting up and within an hour, go outside and go for a walk. I got to start doing all that stuff. Getting active again, getting into shape. We used to do walks all the time with your dad, almost every day. We're going for a walk. It's gotten hot. We don't do walks in the afternoon anymore because it's hot as hell. And by the time he gets home, he's already beaten down everything. But anyway, on the way back home from the beach, unfortunately, my car, a 2006 Acura MDX with 320,000 miles on it, it's over 300,000. Finally gave up, and the catalytic converter, we believe, is what died on the way back home. But at least good old MD got us to one last beach outing. So she went out on a good way. Although we did have to wait on the freeway for about an hour or so before AAA got to us, and that was a little bit of a fiasco. I've never really had much of a problem with them until now. And it was rather annoying, just sitting there all sticky with all the ocean water on you, just sitting there in the heat with the sun baking on you. And MD, is very old, broken down, a lot of things not working, including the AC. So and how cars, when you have no AC, it still has the cycle it goes through. Well, we have no Freon or anything, and even if we put Freon or anything, it only lasts for a little bit. So essentially, we have heat. Even with everything off, we still have some heat coming out of the vents with the windows down, sticky, miserable, but. But what's cool is that on the way back home, the cab driver, or the AAA technician guy, the Loon and I, we were talking on the whole way back home, and I may have recruited him into our fold here. I wrote down on the paper a link to our Linktree and told him most likely the best way to catch us is leave a comment in YouTube, and then we'll figure out a way to get him into our Discord server. But we talked about various things like Alex Jones and January 6th. He spoke about the shaman guy,
Jacob Chandley.
I think so. The guy with the horn head thing.
Yeah, I think that's Jacob Chandley or Chandler or something like that. I don't
know. Whatever. But anyway, we've just been joined by
the QAnon comment.
Speaking of old Papa Dukes, look, he's here.
Hey, howdy.
Yeah.
So
sorry about the death of your car.
Well, no, I'm just talking about how my past week has been.
Okay.
But more or less, that's been my week. Getting things done in the background, getting videos done. Today is the third video of today, so today's rather busy. Tomorrow's going to be busy. Tuesday's going to be busy, and Wednesday
you gotta get your counters.
Wednesday I cannot take off because that is the 9th, the anniversary of Nagasaki, whereas today was Hiroshima. So I got to do a show then. But anyway, Rusty, how about you? How's your week been?
Yeah, Rusty, how's your week been?
Finally got a screen for my Nintendo Switch, so I own a Nintendo Switch now. It's a 4th generation model.
Nice.
So I can like modify it, play PlayStation games and free Nintendo games.
Cool.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. So that means you can play like GoldenEye from the Nintendo 64 now?
Oh yeah, I can play everything.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Dude,
I
I
always
love
wanted
you
a
already.
Switch, and my brother basically, he's my best friend for 20 years now, so he's my brother. He came across a like first generation model Switch that's moddable, just gave it to me for free.
Oh,
It's like,
Oh,
sweet.
wow.
It had a broken screen though, so yeah, I know
Yeah,
how to
that
fix
happens.
electronics and whatnot, so it wasn't hard to replace.
Yeah, that. Other than that, like, how has your week been? Like, any cool things worthy of note to mention for yourself
I
there, Mr.
don't
Spare
remember
Melon?
what I did for breakfast, so no, I don't know what I did the last week.
I hear you.
Hey, Papa Dukes, how was your week going?
Mine is kind of same old same. I'm sure Alex went over our boogie boarding yesterday, so I won't
You
go back
said
into
you
that. I kind of
did.
missed that, but I think that's what you're talking about when I walked in. Other than that, I'm at work, taking names and kicking butt. What can I tell you?
Yeah.
Kicking ass and taking names.
That's
There
it.
you go. Well, as for my week, well, I had a very like interesting week. I had my district manager at work come in, and I was all worried and freaking out, all for really nothing really. I mean, there are a few things I need to do, but like overall, he's still happy with what I'm doing as far as I know. I'm actually flying to Minnesota a day early. Instead of me leaving on the 9th of August, I'm leaving on the 8th. And I gotta be at the airport by, yay! Thank you for the crowd cheering there, Xander. So I get to like I'm switching shifts, so I gotta work tomorrow. But I'm switching shifts with one of my coworkers so that I can leave a day early, because it really wouldn't have been an issue anyway, because technically I have like Sundays and Mondays off at work. So I'm just switching the day because they only had me scheduled for one day this week anyway. And so I'm staying in Minnesota now from the 8th to the 18th. So I have 10 days in Minnesota.
Ah, nice. Really
Not
nice.
Wisconsin, Xander.
No, that's not what I was gonna say. I was gonna say I just remembered. If I may add in something as well, like a future thing
absolutely.
happening. Well, something else we worked on this past week was Theon, the Edge of Disclosure, the ufology paranormal show that we've been working on with Noah. Pardon me, I cannot disclose his name quite yet, and I'm not sure if he's gonna be like really on the show or if he's gonna be working in the background.
Is this what I think you're talking about?
Please
Is this
let me
what I think you're talking about?
Please let me finish.
I'm sorry.
I'm not sure if he's going to be actually on the show or if he's going to be mainly like doing research in the background, but we have teamed up with somebody who rubs shoulders with some pretty prominent figures in the ufology community. That's what I will say.
Oh.
So just look forward to, we are aiming for this Saturday, going to be the premiere episode, and we're going to be working on setting all that stuff up tomorrow, hopefully between him and Noah and myself, and Sohan is involved in all that and everything.
That's
awesome. We have
awesome.
that coming up, so that's really exciting.
What time?
I think we're going to be doing it at 3, like the 11 and 3
okay.
thing.
Yeah.
So that means I have to really redouble my efforts and really start, because I'm hoping to also tomorrow train MTM on how to take over streaming when I'm not there, because as I say, I want to do a show tomorrow because you're going to be here and I don't have you that often, so I want to do a show tomorrow mainly because you're going to be here, and I have to do a show on Wednesday because that's Nagasaki, for history.
Yeah, Wednesday's
Big
the
one.
best.
Yeah, but then on Saturday, I'm not doing, usually I have those off, but now I'm not going to anymore. So now I got to start, figuring out, who can take over for me when I want days off, or even half days off or something. So, but anyway, we are down 10 minutes in the show. Let's get into our actual topics here. What were you going to say, though?
Yep.
No, I just going to follow up on you and your Nagasaki
say.
day.
Oh, yeah.
I had a high school history teacher, I think I was in the 9th or 10th grade, that was obviously Japanese. She was from Nagasaki.
Oh, wow.
And if there are any
Oh,
time I
wow.
want to go back in time and talk to her on an adult level and find out the whole scenario that she went through, because she was a teacher, never went through that. Other than I knew she was from Nagasaki, because we just thought it was cool to say Nagasaki, man.
Oh, man,
But other than that, boy, I'd like to hear her stories if she's
Yeah.
still alive today.
Oh, yeah.
But that's awesome.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Maybe sometime we can actually do well, I don't know if we can actually interview anybody like that many people that were around with Nagasaki and everything, but I think there's still a few around that maybe sometime we could
They're gonna be late
get them and
70s,
pick
early
their
80s,
brain and have
or
them
older.
peanut around on that one. So, well, anyways, so today's show, we're going to actually jump and dive into the Nephilim. And here I would love our lovely buddy, Square Watermelon, to talk about the Nephilim with us. So,
Yes.
Nephilim, the floor is yours.
There are tales in the Bible about the Nephilim that they were fallen angels that bred with humanity, and that's why the floods happened, is to wipe out all the mixed creatures that were created, the Nephilim, basically.
Yeah, and I've also heard a lot of people would say that the Nephilim were people who helped build the pyramids that are all across the world.
And that the pyramids were bunkers in order to protect them from the floods. That's why there's water damage up to basically the top of the pyramids.
Yeah, it was
How are they
if you
bunkers
look at the
then?
way the chamber.
How are they bunkers then? Because I know there are chambers in there, but there's not enough space inside the pyramids to really be an efficient bunker. To my knowledge, maybe there's didn't they discover entire cavern? I do know that there is that entire empty section in the Great Pyramid that they discovered through GPR or something.
Large chambers underneath them, underneath the Sphinx, and all underneath the Giza Plateau. It's like a giant rock. It's if you see Giza in person, it's like a big dome that the pyramids sit on top of. That's like a gigantic rock. That's a single piece of
Oh wow. Well, also haven't they said I know this is it's still part of the Egypt and the pyramids, but it's still around it. But the Sphinx they've said is older and you can see water damage from the structure as well, right? With the Sphinx.
Yeah, so the water damage on that makes it seem like it dates back about over 7,000 years, back when northern Africa was lush and green.
Yeah, the Sahara Desert used to be a rainforest and everything too, or something too, I believe, right?
Yes, a lot of it. Atlantis is what's called Mauritania today, the Eye of Africa. If you look at it on a map, at least that's some people's theories. Jimmy from Bright Inside.
Well, Xander, show people who don't know about the Eye of Africa and the Sahara Desert. I know you can find it,
I'm
but
looking it
just
up
show
right
people
now. But I also want to bring up it's theorized that there was a second Sphinx. And hold your thought real quick. It says here 2 sphinxes existed on the Pyramids Plateau, according to a study which was published in 2007 by Egyptologist Bassam El-Shamma. El-Shamma said that the famed half-lion, half-man statue was an Egyptian deity which had been erected next to another sphinx, which has since vanished without a trace. But they have seen where there would have been the base of it, it was supposed to be instead of a central thing, it was 2 statues on either side to encompass a central path. But here's the Eye of the Sahara that you were talking about right here. Actually, let me bring it up on maps.
Yeah, some people say Square Watermelon, I should say, or 72, is that this might be the original place because of the way it's set up is Atlantis. But do you actually if we're going to talk about Atlantis, do you think the Nephilim had their hands filtered in with let's say Atlantis as well?
Yes, I would imagine that was their capital city. The country or whatever, their kingdom was called Atlas. And this capital city was Atlantis. And they're rumored to have very high technology, and that would have been because they were aliens. Which then gets into Zacharias Sitchin and his theories of the Anunnaki.
The Anunnaki. That was also I said the Nephilim.
If I may say a few things about the Eye of the Sahara, and Bright Insight does a lot of videos on this and other possibles like Doggerland and whatnot. But according to who is it, Plato or Aristotle, who wrote about Atlantis?
Plato, but he got it from his uncle Solon.
Yeah, but according to that, and as I said, go check out Bright Insight, specifically this video, but he has a lot of other good videos. But from the description, you're talking about a city of rings, and specific width of each ring. It was earth, water, earth, water, earth, water. In this reconstruction, the Eye of the Sahara, all these rings are more or less the exact same like measurements. On top of that, it was talking about a mountain range to the north. Well, what do we got here? A mountain range to the north. And then they were saying it was please let me finish. And it was saying like blah 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 port city. Well, what do we see here? A bunch of water runoff. So this could have been like underwater at one point, and this could have very well been a port city right here. And like, there's no other explanation. Yeah. It's not a meteor. They're saying it's a collapsed caldera, but it fits way too many, things from a like multiple centuries old book, and it's almost a 1-to-1, because it also says like where the location is at, like specifically in Africa and whatnot. But I want to talk about like real quick Doggerland as well. You see all of this is light blue because all of this, it is theorized, well, not even theorized, this was all above water at one point, because during dredging out here in the North Sea somewhere, like, and we're talking like 30 some odd feet or whatever underwater, they were just dredging it for whatever reason. They came across some prehistory like tools, like pottery fragments and such, and there was enough to suggest that there was an entire civilization. So I believe, and I know I'm kind of hogging the mic right now, but like Atlantis wasn't just one city. What if it was like what if there was an Atlantis here? What if there was an Atlantis there? What if there was an Atlantis in Bermuda? It was a global society.
So you're calling Atlantis a global community?
Yes. Like we mistake it as a city. I think it's more of a civilization. I just got a DM here though. Yeah.
That's a good viewpoint. But how were the Nephilim and the Anunnaki like involved with all this too? What I want to know.
Before that, if I may direct your attention, Rusty here sent me a map, and right here, so you see Italy, and then here's the Mediterranean, and it says Atlantis, and that's right around where the Recon structure is. And this is the world according to Herodotus, 430 BC. So this map was made in 430 BC. And it says Atlantis right here, so maybe Atlantis. So
Celts up top.
No, right here. So this is Alice. This is Mediterranean Sea right here. This is Northern Africa right here.
Yeah. Well, no, I get that. I see that. Like it has a lot to do with Pangea too. So
no, it's not Pangea. Alice, this is not Pangea. This is right here. The Nile was flowing differently too. No, this was not Pangea. No, here's Italy. This is the known world, but there is more to the world. This is not all of the world, Alice. This is only around the Mediterranean,
which is probably the known world.
Yeah, the known world. The world but no, this is not Pangea. This is just the known world back then.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I want to say like with Pangea, like when you say like I've said something about like one race, like is that we're all one race because we're all humans, and then you have your other species and stuff like with their race.
Well, Alice, like Pangea was way before humans.
Pangea was the separation of the the Pangea was the separation of the continent.
Yes.
But yeah, this is like what the known world was back then.
Well,
I get that.
Pangea was before the continents separated.
Yeah, but
Who was talking a bit ago?
That's
But yeah, like that's a way. But yeah, you're right.
This is a way. Your thoughts of Atlantis being an area like that as opposed to a particular city.
Well, also like this lake. Well, this lake up here, Lake Musso, whatever. What's it called?
Meiosis.
Like, yeah, like that's one. Like, did that just get squeezed in and get closed off, and then they gave runways for like rivers or something?
I don't know, but there's the Caspian Sea.
Yeah.
And Susa, that looks in modern day Baghdad, I think. So. Anyway,
well, actually, what's funny is...
Let's get what Rusty has to say, what Laloon was trying to ask. What does Rusty have to say about what I said about Atlantis not being a city, but more of a civilization?
It most certainly was, like a global civilization. That's why we have pyramids in China, Korea, and South America, and even North America.
Yeah, and possibly Antarctica and underwater. Didn't they discover a pyramid in the Bermuda Triangle?
There are pyramids on Mars.
It's supposed to be a crystal. It's supposed to be a crystal pyramid, supposedly, around the Bermuda Triangle.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, like I was gonna bring that in, but also if you look at Chichen Itza and like put a whatever it's called, like down in Chile, I think, or Argentina. Putacayan, or how do you say it? Putacan,
Oh,
something like that. But yeah, well, the Mayan temple right here during the equinox, like when it hits like the sun sets or sun rises, you'll see the serpent going to the ground.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
The,
I've
the
actually-
shadow.
Yeah, I've actually walked up that, and like this is actually where I think, what is it, the Anunnaki? A lot of people would say that they had their hands in like the what are those the scarrings in the earth in Chile down in South America? What is it?
Oh,
the something lines, the Asm lines.
Nazca.
Nazca.
Yeah, Nazca. Yeah. Would you say that would be like Anunnaki or Nephilim?
No, I would say that's just people trying to contact gods by sending them messages up to the sky that they know the gods up there are seeing.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, I would
That
think
would've-
the same too. But some people, like, as according to ancient astronaut theorists,
Yeah.
they think they were like landing zones for like the Anunnaki and the Nephilim.
There is that entire mountaintop that has just been completely leveled like an airfield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's down there in the Nazca lines.
Yeah, the Nazca. Yeah. Hey, Xander, can you find that like little airfield?
It's like
dude,
how,
there's-
with modern technology, how do you level a mountain?
Yeah.
That's something I do in
Yeah,
Minecraft.
Yeah.
It
Is this
takes me
it?
weeks.
Like with the runway? Or
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
right there, dude. Oh my gosh, like seriously, that's insane stuff. Like, and for people to do this, like, how long ago was this that they say?
No, like 1,000, 1,500 years, I think, or estimates for Nazca lines.
Yeah, like the Nazca lines. Yeah, it's a lot of it does. Like when you look at it from above, it looks like a lot of like airfields, like and runways.
It does,
Like,
but they're not
the
straight.
line.
They're conical. Like this is wider than it is. It's way wider
It looks
on one end
it
than it
looks
is
like
on the
an
other.
airport.
Well, yeah, airports though the runways are uniform in width. These are not. So
Yeah, I
Well,
know
look-
they're not,
Craft
but
on
like
one end.
that is true.
maybe for the style of craft.
Yeah.
Maybe look at how bad aliens are at landing things. They
Ah.
crash into our planet all the time.
Yeah.
Apparently,
Speaking of
yeah,
ancient
absolutely.
aliens, Rusty did-
Yeah, they're
No,
Dude, this is
no, look what
perfect.
Rusty did. He put my face on Giorgio Tsoukalos' body.
Yeah, Xander, would you be sure to like send that to me so I can actually make my own meme for that? Because that
See?
looks perfect. I need this picture. I'm
Tsoukalos
totally
meme?
kidding.
Oh, man.
That one took me like
Like-
10 minutes. I could do a much better job if you'd like.
Oh, please. Square melon, please. Square watermelon. I some peanut melon now, which doesn't even exist,
No, you're
but
not.
you know.
I changed
I'm
your name
special.
to Stapes.
Yeah, I know you put me back to Stapes. I saw that.
There you go.
I miss
DM'd
my
it to you.
melon name. I was actually like accepting the Wisconsin peanut melon. But no, that looks so much like, and especially with like if you look down the bottom with like the triangular spot there, like with all that little debris area of like specks.
Well, yeah, it looks like
once been
taxiways.
an airport.
It looks like
Well, no, it's not
taxiways.
even. Well, not just that, but like the debris between the lines, it kind of looks like there were places right there where, kind of like a terminal for an airport. You know what I mean?
I guess so.
And
Yeah, like
also,
on
like-
this end over here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can project anything.
Yeah,
into
the little
lines, so-
speckled areas, like those are like areas of like dwelling or where our commerce are going on. Why things are like ships are landing
Yeah.
and taking off.
Huh.
Like
Yeah,
it
like,
actually does make sense.
What do you got here? You have a link, the Apocrypha? How do you pronounce that?
Apocrypha, yeah, those are the books that most Christian denominations do not recognize, but Ethiopia does because they accept every book.
Oh.
Oh.
Is
Yeah.
that the Ethiopia where the Ark of the Covenant supposedly is?
Yes,
Yeah.
Axum.
Yeah. And actually, we want to talk about the Book of Enoch here, so like this can segue into the Book of Enoch. Like, what do you know
Oh,
about
yeah.
the Book of Enoch? Do you know anything?
Not that much.
about
I
it?
know that Enoch lived to be, or he was back in those times where people lived to be hundreds or like almost 1,000 years old. Back before God limited humanity to not be over 120 years old. But anyways, Enoch was abducted by gods that took him up into space, and for him it was like a month's time. When he came back, like hundreds of years had passed, everybody he knew died, and then he went on to become the grandfather of Noah, who was then Noah. Also, when he was born, it was said that he was glowing like radiant. He was shining gold. That he was like, not
Noah,
human.
like with the ark and everything?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure I was hearing that right.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay,
So
as you were saying.
Noah obviously got some information from the powers that be up there that they were going to destroy the world, and that's why he built the ark and had to save all the animals on the planet, as many as he could. But if you ask me, I think that the ark was a spaceship, and that humanity was spread across 3 different planets: Earth, Venus, and what was Mars. Mars was a moon of the planet called Phaeton.
Yep.
Became the asteroid belt.
Which is what, yeah. That's
So
why I
Phaeton-
was
Say that
doing
again.
that.
It was hit by an asteroid belt.
No, it became the asteroid
Oh,
belt.
okay.
Between
Yeah,
between
a
Jupiter
planet
and the
came-
Sun, it ripped the planet apart, and there was also a war, I think. Like,
Yeah, that's my theory. Is that there was a giant war. They used like a black hole bomb or something, blew up the entire planet, and that's why Mars is heavily cratered on one side. Only one side. If it was just because of the asteroid belt being there, it would be evenly cratered on every side.
yeah,
Yeah,
That's
because
very
Mars
interesting. I've never
actually.
heard that concept.
Mhm.
I like that.
yep.
Well, it's because Mars, like, it rotates like the Earth, but, like, this actually brought me in what I was talking about earlier.
Well, like you were talking about, like you wanted to talk about Nibiru and
The Nephilim and the Anunnaki, yeah,
Well-
but I also did mention how I think that Mars is still part of that,
yeah.
like, as you were saying.
Well, like
And then there's the planet.
to extend on Russ's theory, 'cause what he's told to me, if I remember correctly, is that like the whole thing about like because Nibiru was a star, right? Like, Or was that
I
a
think the
planet?
star is called
Nemesis.
Nemesis.
Nemesis. Okay,
Nemesis.
so
Planet
Nemesis
that
is a
orbits
star.
at its neighbor.
But see,
Yeah,
Nemesis does exist right under our nose, and that's Jupiter. Because Jupiter's a failed star, because most star systems out there are binary. Having a singular star for a solar system is actually very rare. What do you say, 5%? Like, of
No,
systems
yeah,
out there are
sure.
singular star
5 to
systems?
20%.
That's
Okay.
still pretty low.
It's
I
still
didn't
pretty low.
realize that.
So most star systems out there are binary. Our second star was, just didn't work. It was Jupiter, and it just didn't light up, like for whatever reason. Like it got like
So
this.
it became a dwarf star.
It became
is
a
what you're
well. It's not a dwarf star. It's just a gas giant.
saying. Okay.
But it has
Yeah.
all the building blocks leading up
To the sun.
to a star. Yeah. So
But
so
still.
that is actually Nemesis, and Nibiru or whatever it was the planet that
5,000
became
year
the asteroid
rotational
belt.
cycle.
And then expanding off of that, from what you said, from past conversations we've had, as I've said, is that we humans are actually from those other worlds, Mars and what became the asteroid belt and all that stuff, and then we came to Earth, and then we've just been here, like, and all it takes, is a generation or two before you lose information, in 1,000 years, of course we might not even remember where we came from. We just like, oh, we've always been here, But like as like Rusty, do you want to I don't want to talk for you. Like tell us about the spine problems and about babies and all this stuff.
Yeah. When human babies are about the only thing on the planet that are born and not able to walk at birth. I mean, there's birds and
Yeah.
some other
Yeah.
things, but fish and most mammals and everything, as soon as they're born, they're able to walk. Humans,
Yeah.
you have back problems. I have back problems. We all have back problems. Why? Why do we get sunburned? Why don't we have fur on our skin? It's because we're not from this planet.
Yeah,
Well, we do
Used
have
to
fur in our
gravity.
skin. Well, it's not fur, it's hair.
it's just hair,
technically.
but still,
No, hair is
we're
different from fur, though.
how did we evolve so rapidly compared to everything else? Like at some point, humans did something and we boom, why?
Yeah.
Probably because we weren't even from here. We're from somewhere else, and then we just came here to a planet not yet as developed as ours was, and then ours died. So, the whole thing about the lizard people and all that stuff, they're native to Earth. We are the invaders. So,
That is a definite good theory to think about, my friend. Absolutely. I do believe that, I think there is one human race because, for me, I call myself spiritual. I'm not going to call myself necessarily a Christian, but a spiritual person where I think we're came for one thing, but at the same time, I can't deny the fact that there's possible like different lives elsewhere, and that's why I keep my mind open to it. And so like I find it's weird because also in certain biblical things you hear stories about these, like the Anunnaki and like the Nephilim and everything like that. That's what I find crazy and interesting. And so this is a really interesting topic.
How about Gilgamesh, who was a giant who had 6 fingers? He had 2 rows of teeth.
Oh damn, Gilgamesh, yeah.
And another thing, before we meander to another topic or subtopic, another thing I remember from having conversations with 72 here is that like the whole thing about Noah's Ark and the whole flood was the earth was flooded to get rid of the Nephilim, and the whole Noah's Ark was us coming from another planet over here. Maybe we brought octopus and owls and stuff over because octopi and squids are obviously not of this world. So maybe we brought them over with us.
Well, Xander, what 72 did say is that like we were spread to 3 planets: Venus, Earth, and Mars. Now we talked a little bit about Mars, but what happened to Venus? 72.
Runaway greenhouse effect.
Say that again.
Greenhouse.
It's pretty much known to science is that it's horrible. It has the atmosphere on it has just like gone to the greenhouse to the max.
Yeah, doesn't it rain sulfuric acid over there, or
Yep. We got like 500 feet into the atmosphere or something with a probe, or the Russians did before it was just like disintegrated.
Yeah, it made surface landfall before it literally melted from the heat. Like.
From the heat or the acidity?
A little bit of both. Like we do have Russian probe on Venus. We do have.
Well, why would they send it? Why would they send human life to a planet that was like that?
Well, no, it wasn't like that.
We came from there.
We came from there. Like what he's suggesting is maybe because you know how everything's all about climate change in today's world, on Earth and everything.
Yeah.
What if Venus is the way it is because of runaway industry and we just didn't scrub our smokestacks, and then it just created that. But right here, what I have on the screen is as an image from what he said, the Soviet Venera program on the surface of Venus. It was able to take a couple pictures before it totally melted. So,
yeah.
But these are pictures from Venus. Isn't that
it's
wild?
just so hard to go there.
So
something might happen.
I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
Yeah, if there were any buildings or things there, they would be disintegrated in a year. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You would have to live underground to survive.
Well,
on that planet.
Maybe.
But it's interesting how you categorize industry as a bunch of industry and then destroying a planet. Anything that gets so efficient and overtakes a planet from what it is will flip the environment.
Mm-hmm.
Where if trees and green cover this entire planet, we would eventually flip to hydrogen dioxide.
Hydrogen monoxide.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
anything can change an environment if it is too efficient and takes over that planet.
Well, I mean, if you look at the opening of the movie WALL-E, when it's zooming in on Earth, that has a lot of Venus-like qualities. Because all the smog and everything, it's just another couple thousand years of that building upon itself. Eventually, it will just melt everything. But life flipped, and WALL-E, of course, found the plant, and the story is as we know it. But this is what I see all the time about if you look at Chernobyl, what's that one out in Pennsylvania? Centralia.
3 Mile Island.
No, not 3. That's New York, Alice. I'm talking
Are
about.
You sure?
I'm very sure that 3 Mile Island is New York, Alice. I'm talking about Centralia, Pennsylvania, where the coal fires.
That's a coal mine, Centralia.
Yeah. No, but see, what I'm saying, the point I'm trying to make here is that how long before all forms, not just buildings, but down to the foundations, the pathways, the roads, is just absorbed back into nature, overgrown. How long before those are at the edge of 2 plates, and then it goes under, never to be seen again. How many societies, and civilizations were before ours, because I definitely know that there were a few that have collapsed and everything's gone to hell, and then we just become cavemen again. I mean, like Joe Rogan has a whole stand-up bit about like if the lights go out, the grid goes out and everything.
Yeah.
Like how long do you have before you run out of bullets? Like how long before you run out of this, before you run out of that? In just a few generations, you can end up being back in caves with spears fighting bears. Like that's all it takes.
Primal.
Yeah.
History is cyclical. Everything repeats. It's like we go from the Stone Age to the Bronze Age to the Iron Age to the Golden Age, and then you get back through because you reached the Golden Age and you didn't admire it enough. You didn't take care of your Golden Age. You get thrown back into the Stone Age.
Yep.
Exactly right.
Well, actually,
Mother Nature will take care of itself. We're just fleas on a planet.
We're just on here for the ride.
Life finds a way, but actually, like in a way, like what, like the revamp of Battlestar Galactica said, all this has happened before and will happen again.
Yep.
Learn from
Unless we learn from our history and don't repeat
Yeah,
it.
well, if we erase history, how are we to remember? But
Well, this
a lot
is why
of people
we do our history show.
will be in a loop.
Yeah, this is why we do our history show and everything, to get it out there. So.
Well, make sure you archive that info because maybe next year some of that's not going to be in there.
I know. I really got to get to work archiving that on the website. I just don't really know how to do it, and I really got to sit down and look at all those videos with everybody. I still got to work on all that.
Archive it to an external hard drive, and keep that hard drive just for archiving information that you see on the internet, and then you archive it and save it, yeah. But anyways, like, we've been talking about the Nephilim, we talked about the Anunnaki, and, Venus, Mars, and everything. We should probably go to our next little fun topic here.
Yeah.
Well, we have UFOs, or we have Paul Rudd, who never ages, but I don't think Rami is here to talk about it.
No, he's not, but, there's also that conversation that the Loon and I were having earlier, and, you brought this up, actually. The differences in males and females physically.
Yes, that was going to be the next one down the thing. Men and women skeletal structures, but then also if you add in muscle, then there becomes a different thing. But however, there is one thing I'm going to say right away: men's hips and women's hips are way different.
Well, yeah,
for birth.
Yes, that's obvious. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about and I don't even know how to search for this. So
tell me what you're talking about.
But basically, they discovered an ancient civilization. Archaeologists discovered an ancient civilization, and they saw skeletons of both male and female. Yeah. But upon observing the actual bone structures and density and everything, they surmised that physically, muscularly, the females and males were more or less the same, because how most societies have males going out and doing all the hard labor, and women do the softer stuff. That's just that's just societal stigmas. In this specific society, the women were out there doing the hard physical labor just as much as the men were. So the whole idea about women physically being not as much as men, that's based off of our societal standards. If we allow, after a few generations of women, who want to go into the mines, who want to go, work in the fields, who want to go and hunt, who goes and does, the hard work, after a few generations, we will start seeing dividends. I mean, this is a terrible topic to think about, but slavery. You look at slavery, 300 years, both male and females. You look at a lot of black U.S. citizens today, a lot of them are still rather muscular just through genetics because of multiple centuries of subjugating, everybody to hard physical labor. That eventually goes into the DNA and it pays off dividends, so to speak. So.
Well, that's true. We're ever changing. The planet's ever changing. Each species forever changing, but not in a few decades or a few centuries. It doesn't change. It takes a long, long time.
A few generations.
But if man survived for the next 10,000, 20,000 years, we'd be quite a different species.
Yeah. Well, I'm not talking about a few decades or centuries. I'm not talking about, every 5-year generation. No. A generation, then they have a child, then that child has a child, and that child has a child. Eventually, that child is going to have the genetics that was built upon by all of the predecessors. And if all of the predecessors did a lot of physical labor, after a few generations, it's built in. You know.
Hey, may I interject, Xander?
Yes.
I want to get our Square Watermelon's take on this.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Yeah, Square Watermelon, what do you think about all this?
Well, I think natural selection also plays a part in that whole genetics breeding, because the weaker die out, and if you're a slave race, then all your people that are living have to be strong, otherwise they're not going to live to work the fields.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kind of the same
It's a
thing
very
as like
good
why
point.
Swedish females are so beautiful, because all the Vikings, while they were plundering the rest of Europe, took all the pretty ladies with them. So
I like-
Scandinavian
Well, I got
women
my
are
blue
gorgeous
eyes.
because of that.
Hey, we got Kratos back. We got Romnus.
Oh,
he can
speaking
actually
of Scandinavian women, welcome back, Kratos.
Whoa, wow.
Well, I mean,
No.
Kratos is now
But
up in the north and everything. So
Well, anyways, no, 72. Keep going. Keep elaborating. Opinion on
Well,
what
can I
Xander
say a
said.
slightly offensive joke, if you can call it a joke?
Go for it. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. I love
absolutely.
Talking
slightly
about
offensive.
bone structures.
Well, it's called the First Amendment, so go for it.
all right.
If you were to take 99 men, put them on an island with one trans man or trans dude, in 100 years, or 1,000 years, when somebody comes to dig up their skeletons, they'd find 100 male skeletons.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But did they age?
They aged, but they didn't have any kids.
Yeah.
That's
How,
right.
how much did they age, though?
They're
It
dead.
depends.
So all the way.
No, how much did their skeleton age?
Oh.
Well, post-death. Did they?
It
Did
depends
they
on the environment.
So are these actual bones or are these fossils of bones?
Well, 1,000 years, they'd just be like bones.
Okay.
Yeah, they
Well,
must be
yeah,
bound.
that's all there would be.
Okay,
There's
so they're
Oh,
aging
yeah.
like bones.
They didn't.
Well, Robinson, I think, is trying to figure out are they slowly
Carbon
turning to
dating.
dust now?
Yeah.
How
Like
long
I
does
said,
it
it
take
depends on
for
the
it, though?
environment. If it's dry, then they'd be mummified.
Yeah, no,
If
yeah.
it's wet, they'd just
I was
decay.
gonna say, are they still
Yeah.
solid or are they just dust?
Depends on
Here's
how
Absolutely.
the
they're
irony of generational, and we're getting bigger, stronger, and everything else. We value big muscles, taller, stronger. In reality, because we're so populated, we should be valuing smaller frame men and women, and generationally getting smaller and better to be more efficient on our planet. But we are kind of working against the evolution of
I'm
the
sorry,
planet. We're working against it, and eventually Mother Nature will come in and say, no.
Well, you want to talk about working against it? We are so reliant on our modern advances that if anything happens, we are at the mercy of nature and we will not win. We are
I gotta
actually
interject
at the
here.
point where we could probably, if something bad happens, we can become extinct.
Yeah.
Hey, can I interject real quick?
Wait a second. My point being is we value the things that are worse for the planet.
Yes.
We should be valuing smaller and everything else
Yeah.
to value the planet more.
So
We
sort of
don't do it that way.
Yeah. What are you gonna say, Alice?
Well, I was going to interject here and say, well, aren't the men getting smaller and smaller anyway? If you look over the last
getting
100 years,
Yeah.
ever since we introduced, actually, this is where I'll go into this is a whole different day and topic for the kicking the peanut. But
Actually, no. Men are not
dive
getting
into it.
smaller. I've been noticing, if anything,
No.
males are getting taller because when
I
I was in
didn't
high
get
school,
that.
I'm
never
average
even
height.
got-
I'm 5'10", 5'11".
Yeah.
When I was in high
I'm
school, there was a
around.
lot of people. The golden moon here is 6'2".
Three.
Now
Don't
3.
cut me off. What are you shrinking me?
I thought you were
I'm
6'2".
sure. 2, 3.
Okay, well, anyway, regardless, when I did a delivery when I was a Grubhub driver back in 2020, 2021, I did a delivery to my old high school, and I just look around, and the majority of male students, they're all 6 foot and above, and they all have beards and everything, and these are they're becoming bigger. They're the next generation immediately after me. They're taller by average. It's
Well, let me give you a
it's gonna-
personal example. My grandmother and grandfather were born. My father was born very late in their lives, so they were born probably 1870, 1880. He ended up being 6'1", 6'2". She was 6 foot tall,
wow. That's
unbelievably tall.
that is a tall lady.
Yeah,
Yeah.
by today's standard,
So,
it's tall.
That's still tall.
But not
Dude,
unbelievably tall.
yeah.
Go look at how many WNBA players are. They're 6'5", 6'6",
Oh,
6'7".
yeah.
So that's my point.
Yeah.
I mean, he was very tall.
Yeah.
But for a woman, she was freakishly tall.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, mom was tall. She's 5'9", 5'10". She's almost as tall as I am, and she was that tall when she was 12 years old.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like she was taller than her her 5th grade teacher or something.
Something like that. Yeah.
Like, my goodness.
Tittles is 5'10". Like
Yeah.
Tittles is 5'10". She's an example. Like she's tall.
Like I just I find it annoying. Like I'm average, but I look like 9 times out of 10. I'm not even. Well, actually, I'm gonna say 7 times out of 10. Then to be more fair, practically every other male I have met in my entire life, most of them have been taller than me.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's annoying. You know, like
I'm 6 foot tall and I'm the short one in my family.
exactly. So like.
I'm 5'7".
Yeah.
So
I'm one of the bigger members of the family. I'm not the tallest by any means. Huh?
Oh no! So go ahead, Sonny. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh no, you're good. What I was gonna say, I mean, the tallest member of my family, he is 6'6". Like that's a big dude. He's a big boy.
Yeah.
That is my uncle. That's my uncle. That's one of my uncles. He's he's up there in years. He's older, but he's a big guy. But like my dad's side of the family, we're tall.
How tall was Stefan? 6'8" or something?
He was about 6'6", 6'7".
Yes, I had a friend back in high school. His name was Stefan. He was a tall guy, but he was Swedish. They're tall as well. So.
Oh yeah. Oh for sure.
Yeah. Oh, this guy
is a 6'7", wears like a size 16 shoe. His brother is 6'4", I think. Their mom is over 6 foot.
Whoa.
Everyone in my family is over 6 feet tall except for my mom and one other person.
Whoa, that's a big average.
That wasn't my point. I never even actually got to say what I was going to say because Andrew, you talked and you said something over me. What I was going to say, like, because actually people are getting smaller, but like you are going to have those really tall people. But like I would say that like people's muscle and bone structure has and everything has gotten a little like not as dense as before because I think of the introduction. I've heard a theory of the introduction of plastic might have a play in it because ever since plastics were introduced in like the 50s and 60s, you see this like weaker structure of men coming out like from what they are naturally born and meant to be. But
well, that's also there's so much estrogen in our water and everywhere else. So
I blame fluoride.
Yeah. Smaller. Like if we should get smaller to like be better with the environment, but we should also it shouldn't be happening so quickly.
Yeah.
Like it should slowly evolve, not like over the last like 60 years.
And then you have weird situations like on my mom's side, Nana, mom's mom or my great grandmother, like she was 5 foot nothing, 4'5". She was rather short.
Real short.
So, and then
everybody was short, but your mom.
Yeah, well, yeah, and then then she had 3 daughters. My mom, and then my 2 aunts. My 2 aunts are like 5 foot. My mom was 5'10", and then she had my birth mother, who's 4 foot nothing. Like
4 foot.
Like the entire height of like 2 generations were all put into one person. Like all of the height points,
I blame lack of bone density on fluoride because it causes fluorosis, which leads to osteoporosis and other calcium deficiencies.
Also, did you find out? Like I've read a study. I can't remember where. I'll have to find it. When I find it, I'll forward it. But I've also found the 3 countries that have the highest amount of osteoporosis reported are also the 3 countries that take in the most dairy products.
Yeah, it's because they're drinking. It's because they're consuming too many dairy products. That's the problem. That's what causes
it. And they're adding the weight gain from all that dairy, probably puts pain on the spine and all that stuff. So
because you should there's only a certain amount of milk you should drink.
Well, you only really need calcium when you're growing because your bones stop growing at a certain point.
Yeah, after your bones stop growing, you shouldn't really take in as much calcium.
Yeah, just not
as much. You take in vitamin D is what you need.
You should still consume some, but not as much.
Yeah,
not
on that par. Yeah. So after your teenage years, drinking milk and stuff, really you should start getting less of it, going into protein, getting vitamin D, iron, and all that stuff.
Yeah, you want to focus mainly on like your red meats and whatnot.
Yeah, because iron, like you're in protein, when you do like red meat protein, you're gonna find more iron in it, and that's actually good for you. That kind of iron.
I will also add when it comes to other substances, like if you're trying to take creatine, don't bother with the creatine monohydrate. Don't bother with it. The powder stuff, don't waste your time. You're just you're putting in more.
I saw a lot of it, but like what creatine does is actually like it helps move and modulate your water and to be used more properly and everything.
That's
so
why,
like when you go.
But that's why, because like the reason I say is because you don't need the powder form of it. You can just eat steak and you'll get creatine out of it.
Well, anyways, like we're digressing here, so we should get back onto the subject here. And since you're actually back, we can actually talk about Paul Rudd, right, Xander?
Yes.
That we can. Yeah.
What about him?
So, Rom, it's your floor.
Oh,
Tell me why we need to talk about Paul Rudd.
Tell me
So-
why.
Ain't
So
got
the So the reason I think we need to talk about Paul Rudd is because let's just look. So he had a movie back the early 2000s. I think it was
200 cigarettes.
I think it was 200 cigarettes. Yes, I believe
That's
so.
the one I
This
remember
was-
him in.
This is
It had
and this
Christina
was-
Ricci and everybody in it. There was a whole bunch of people. Even
This was around. the time-
Estella was in there.
Yeah,
Well, why are
we're
we
talking
about it?
from, and that photo right there that Xander has up on the screen share, or that he has up on
He
on
doesn't
the
really
internet.
age, is what we're saying.
Oh, okay.
Like
This
there's
is
a
why
whole
it needs to be brought up.
there's a
It
whole
only
theory
aged
like
10 years.
It has been 30 years, almost 30 years since he was in that movie in '95,
Wow.
and he hasn't aged but 6 months, if that.
No, that's not 6 months. Like it looks like he's 10 years.
It looks like he hasn't aged hardly at all.
15 years.
So the only
So what's the
The reason
theory
it-
behind it? Any theory behind it?
well, he's just being funny about it, but there
Plastic surgery?
are theories like Nicolas Cage is actually because there's a painting. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Nick Cage
This
is
page
immortal.
like has the same thing going
It's
on.
just an observation.
Keanu
What are we
Reeves.
talking
Well,
about?
see, here we go.
Brady.
We have an old photo here, and then there's Nick Cage.
Okay.
So like, there's
Yeah.
a theory out there like I don't think it's 100% true, but truth is stranger than fiction.
Serious theory, yeah.
Maybe he's an immortal being
Oh my
and he changed his
God.
identity because these two photos are hundreds of years apart, but that is obviously Nicolas Cage.
Wow.
Is that
Yeah,
guy
that's a
right
big jump
there?
right there.
Is this
Like-
guy related to Coppola's? Because
So,
like
So
Nicolas
you're saying
Cage is a
they'd be aware of
Coppola.
it? That they're-
it might be the
Nicolas
same.
Cage is a Coppola, dude. He's one of
Yeah.
those famous guys.
So I
Yes.
want you to pull up another example. I could say Kurt Russell for that matter.
Oh, dude, Kurt Russell too.
There's-
Oh my God.
Look up a photo of Kurt Russell and a photo of Wyatt Earp. They look identical.
Dude.
They look
Dude, like
identical.
from Tombstone? Yeah.
If the actual picture of Wyatt Earp and the photo of Kurt Russell as Wyatt Earp, they look exactly the same. They look identical.
Have any of you ever heard of the
No,
Wandering
they
Jew?
don't look like
There's a
them.
Not
slight
really.
difference. Eyes are the only difference. Other
Nope.
than that,
No, it's the jawline. It's the cheekbones.
Yeah.
Oh,
John-
Ben
it's the
Jesus.
only major difference.
Try,
But of
oh,
all
here
the
we go.
Wyatt Earp variations, he was, in terms of physical appearance, Kurt Russell is the closest that anyone has ever gotten to looking like the actual Wyatt Earp. Because
Yeah.
Costner looks nothing
Well-
like him. Costner isn't even close. He looks nothing like Wyatt Earp.
So what are we saying? Are we saying you're talking reincarnation, or
well,
they're just
there's a
constantly?
potential-
There's a theory out there
Clones?
that some people are immortal, and every now and then they come into the public eye, they live a life, and then they have like their
Yeah.
earlier years fabricated,
Yeah.
and then they die and go back into
A fake
obscurity.
death.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like,
Well,
Uh,
or perhaps they're clones, dude. Maybe we've been doing cloning forever.
Yeah.
maybe.
Because he could very well either be a reincarnation of Wyatt Earp or he's a clone.
Gosh, I really want to hear my I'm Your
He
Huckleberry.
looks very similar. He looks
Tombstone.
his resemblance is very
I'm
sharp.
Your Huckleberry.
Or he's the wandering Jew from the Bible. There was a story of when Jesus was being crucified, somebody did something, cast shame on him or something, and Jesus cursed him with immortality, and it said that to this day that guy is still immortal.
Huh.
Sorry, I just dropped my phone. It fell out of my hands
There's
because
like-
the
oh,
camera
Andrew's
tried to
work.
jump
Here's
on
another
me.
one: celebrities who look like historical figures. So,
Taylor
Aw,
Swift
looks like you're
looks
using
like,
an ad blocker.
but no,
Xander.
Taylor Swift looked like Anton LaVey's wife. I think it was.
huh?
Oh
Yeah, no.
man, we got a so hey.
But yeah, same goes
Hey,
with Tom
Stan.
Brady. Tom Brady hasn't hardly aged. If anything, it looks like he's aged less, or that he's aged somewhat backwards.
Called
Except for
plastic
his hair.
surgery
His hair was going
nowadays.
gray.
Or
Like,
he's
he's got
eating
gray hair
babies.
now, but he does look
No,
younger
no.
than what he did then. Like back, he looks younger than what he did in college.
It's because these people use stem cells, specifically baby stem cells.
Yeah, it said some cells.
Yeah.
Dude, it's the
But yeah,
melange.
look at that top left photo. That is Tom Brady. Early. That's his first. That was roughly about his first season. That was one of it. That was early in his career. Like,
Can you zoom in on
maybe
that again,
first
Xander?
three.
I can't see this well.
Let me see if I can find a better one.
but
But no, it's called that melange stuff. Remember South Park did it about Tom Brady's poop?
Oh,
so
Yeah.
oh, is that when they were doing
whatever
like
he-
the
it's whatever he's drinking.
yeah?
It's that stuff he's drinking at the game. That is his
It's
secret.
the spice melange.
Anyway,
People
we
should-
gotta start wrapping this up here, people.
Yeah, I know. We're like 4 minutes from an hour here.
Yeah.
This is actually a really good show, my friends. I think about a lot of things here.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy that we got the Papa Duke's Golden Loon in the house here.
Hey, I loved it. I like hearing a lot of stuff that I'm not really familiar or aware of. So kudos to you all.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, Pops, this is why you need to come to the Kick and the Peanut. We talk about everything and anything.
Yeah. I
Like,
know.
this
Yeah,
is like totally up your alley.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna have to do a special where we just interview you.
yeah. You talk about boring.
Like, we'll actually, you know what I'll do is I'll put up a thing where people ask questions to Mr. Aozander here, and we have you for an hour where we ask questions and you answer them.
You know
From
what? Maybe
people
I
from
should make a
across the
channel. Ask the
server.
Loon. You know?
Yeah, we're gonna
So
call it
hold on a second.
it's called the Looney Channel, the Golden Looney
Channel.
Hour.
The loon.
Duplicate.
The
Just
loon.
loony is more
Ask
Interactive.
accurate.
Loon.
The Looney Channel.
For our
is
special-
more
The loon
accurate.
day.
All right, I have it there.
No,
It's I'm gonna put it.
Yeah.
I'll put it right under general. There we go. So
Yes, I'm gonna call the special the Golden. So where everybody gets to like put in it, like put a little like thing where you can write a question to Papa Dukes here, the partner in crime of Aozander. Well, we can actually ask him any question, and he has to be here for an hour and answer the questions and tell a story about them.
Yeah.
Oh man, kind of feels like I'm on the hot seat here for some reason.
well, it's
You
just
know what?
because
I'll give
everybody's
you a
so
big,
interested in you.
gigantic hug.
You're barking up the wrong
You know,
tree. I have no
Xander,
interest whatsoever.
You underestimate yourself.
So Xander, I think that the Golden Loon should be the special guest for the Omni Coalition meet and greet, Reno.
We'll
Oh
see.
yeah.
We'll
Well,
see.
we're planning to head up to aiming on for January 6th because that falls
Oh, okay.
on Saturday,
Oh.
and also it's a tongue-in-cheek move towards stupid politic crap. But we're gonna go up
Yep.
to Reno probably.
Oh,
So
okay.
instead of
Yeah.
Vegas, we're gonna go to Reno. It's a whole meetup.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
coast to
nice.
coast, and
Nice.
can't anybody under Canada. You know, like
Very
on the
nice.
coast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
Reno's a
also
good place to
that,
go for
well,
that.
we-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, also that I'm hoping we can maybe get part of the abstract FSX to come because also right now I have to say we have entered the era of the Omni invasion with them.
Oh yeah.
Xander,
I'm
would you
rocking
like
my
to
shirt.
please
Like,
quickly talk about it? Yep, you're
if anybody
sporting
wants
it.
this shirt, go to abstractsfxstudios.com, and this is Scott's design, Summer Chill, and they have a lot of designs. And
Oh,
it's
yeah.
actually like the shirt is thin. This you can feel this on your chest, and it doesn't breathe at all, so that's a little annoying. But other than that, it looks cool. So
Yeah. Well, it's an iron on.
yeah,
It's all right, dude. You know, just make sure when you're washing with that kind of print on there, just don't make sure you like hot air dry it, like
Yeah.
just
Oh, no,
air
no,
dry
no.
that. Don't
I
put it in a
wash on
dryer.
cold with
Well,
with
the
fabric
dryer, you
softener.
gotta watch
The
out.
dryer I run on medium.
Yeah.
So-
You should
Oh,
probably
okay.
Just hang that up.
Yeah, just be careful with that kind of print and stuff because I mean the print's really awesome. I like it because remember I got my
I would
heart.
put it in the dryer. I
And I also got times running.
I'll just hang it. I'll air dry it from now on. I'll just hang it up somewhere.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
just wash it with a fabric softener and just air dry
Well,
it.
I don't want to test it, so.
No.
But
Well,
yeah,
no, that's
so
what I
we're
do
over
with
the hour here. Let's
Pacific.
wrap this up here.
Yeah, let's get it. But we want to give a shout out to the Abstract XFX, and we had a show earlier with them of Sunday. We'll
Yeah,
always
check
watch
the
them.
under the description for links. You know, the Omni Coalition link tree. It's under our affiliates. Scroll down a little bit, and Abstract SFX is there.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
You know, and then also we have our lovely Kratos and our Square Watermelon, aka 72. We have a Sohan in the house.
Yes.
Say your name. Say hi. Say your
Sohan,
love to
hi.
everybody.
Hello.
72. Thank you so much for your time.
Yes, thank you, sir.
And
Very interesting.
Yeah. We've also had.
Mr. Ronnie one.
Golden Loon.
Yeah.
Yep, and Mr. Papa Duke's Golden Loon.
Yeah.
Anyways, I am the lovely Who is Alice, brought to you by just I'll say your
there's
name.
the star right there.
Yeah. And of course, you viewer are you until you catch us next week, or if you're interested in some history, we have a history show every day at 11 in the morning Pacific time, and we have a notable events, weather, and sports news every Tuesdays and Fridays at 3 p.m. Pacific time. So until you catch us next time, wherever that is, don't forget to look right and left at every intersection, rate 5 thumbs, and subscribe. Toodles!
Absolutely. And be cool, stay in school, don't do drugs.
Drugs.